All right, Mohawk Matt. How's it going?
It's all right. It's going cool.
Man, that's what's up, man. Glad to have you here, man. First time?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. We'll just start from the beginning, go over your story, man.
Sounds good.
What was it like for you growing up, and where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, late 80s, early 90s. I honestly tell people there was no time to grow up than there was in the early 90s, late 80s, man. Culture, everything was so much different. I played baseball. I did a little bit of, I was kind of like one of those kids that did a little bit of everything. Some skateboarding. I was into gothic punk rock music. I played sports, soccer, baseball. I was involved with graffiti. I had a little weird upbringing. But graffiti was really big in the Valley back in the early 90s, and that's kind of what I got myself enmeshed in.
Okay, how did you get involved in tagging?
Well, I hung out with some kids that did it, and it's one of those things where I followed a couple of my friends. I went to some continuation school, and I have a friend named Thus who I just loved watching these kids ride the buses and like graffiti all over the buses. Because back in the 90s, graffiti was extremely different than today. Taking over buses and writing all over the windows and getting off and then writing on the outside of the buses. I watched all my friends do it, and one of these days my boy Thus gave me a marker, and it went from there. Before you know it, I'm on the buses with backpacks full of spray cans, and I'm writing on buses. And we used to just take the buses, the RTD buses, all over the San Fernando Valley, up over the hill into LA. It was amazing.
Okay, and how old were you when this started?
Like 13, 14?
13?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I seen that you went to jail a few times. How old were you when you first got arrested?
I got arrested for graffiti, shoplifting when I was a kid, stealing like pants and spray paint and shit. I think I went to juvenile hall when I was like probably 14, maybe 13.
Oh, okay.
But back then it was fun. Going to juvenile hall it wasn't like adult jail. We went to juvenile hall, we had fun. I mean, you never want to go to jail, but like all your friends were there, you could fight, it was fun. You know what I mean? We tagged on shit, we with the guards. Juvenile hall was just like I don't want to say this and emphasize this to the wrong people, but it was like almost like a rite of passage in my area, in the Valley. Like we went to juvenile hall, we got out, we're back on the buses, it was a thing.
Okay, now, did you get any fights in juvenile hall, or you probably didn't? You were still tagging, so you probably didn't have no enemies at the time.
Well, graffiti was at that point. It was like a pivotal point in graffiti where it was evolving into tag banging. So yeah, we all had little crews we didn't get along with. So there was some fist fights. There was always like that little detention. Well, I was one of those white boys that grew up with Mexicans. I'm a white boy, and I know I'm a white boy, and I like that. But I'm one of the ones that grew up with Mexicans. So you got a little bit of both cultures in me. And you can tell when you meet me. So, when you go to jail, the white boys are with the all that little weird, like, political, semi-racial nonsense that goes on. There's always, like, some kid from some other area that doesn't like you because you're with these guys. And so there was always tension and fighting and shit like that.
Okay. Now, you get out, are you going to school? Or are you...
Yeah, I went to school. Believe it or not, I did pretty good in school. I ended up graduating from Granada Hills High School about a year late, but I did some continuation here and there to make up credits to get back on track. But I went to school on and off. Yeah.
Now, what kind of student were you?
Believe it or not, I was a pretty smart kid. I was like 3.9 grade point average. I was pretty smart, yeah. I'd take little breaks to go to juvenile hall, go to camp, come out 3 or 4 months down the road. I'd do some continuation to catch up and get back on track with regular school. But I did it about a year late. I got my diploma.
You were playing baseball?
Playing baseball and soccer. I was better at baseball, and I should have stuck with baseball. Yeah.
How old were you when you got your first tattoo?
Jesus Christ, I think I was like 15 or 16. I got my graffiti crew and my graffiti name on my forearms, and I've since covered it. But, yeah.
Okay, so that was the beginning of it.
That was the beginning of tattoos, yeah. And that was an addiction kicked off real quick.
Did it? Okay, did you see, like when you got the first tattoo, did you imagine that you would be having your whole body tattooed?
No, but I can honestly tell you, starting with this one, I'm already envisioning this one. And then this one, I'm envisioning here. Because I'm in this biker tattoo shop in the city of North Hollywood, and some biker ass dude named Wolf, I'll never forget him, was tattooing me. And they got they have the flash and the pictures over the wall. So I'm picking, I want that girl. That girl's tits look good. Let me get that one. There's a skull. I want this one. Like I was immediately planning everything out. So it was great.
Okay, so you knew it was something you definitely liked from the gate.
Oh, I was addicted to it. It was just like a drug for me. Just like graffiti was a drug, tattoos became a drug, shoe collecting became a drug, all that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when did when would you say like you jumped off the porch? When did you start, getting into more trouble?
Well, as the 90s progressed, the graffiti crews, we continued to tag, but it started to turn more gang-like. There was a lot of stuff that happened in the 90s in LA. Stuff coming out of the jail systems. Politics were changing. A lot of the graffiti crews were kind of being pushed more and more into either becoming gangs or joining their own gangs. And my crew was a bunch of white boys, a couple Mexicans, a black kid, an Asian kid. We weren't strong enough on our own, but we were still strong and good in our own right. But to become a full gang, we just weren't there yet. And a couple of my buddies made a choice one night at a party to make a decision that altered all of our lives. They killed somebody at a party, and we were forced, after they went to jail, to make a rough decision. And my tagging crew decided to join a local gang, and everything changes in that moment. Everything changes.
How did you guys decide to make that leap? You know what I'm saying? Did you guys all talk about it, or?
Well, we had a meeting, and we were divided. I was one of the ones that voted against it. There's a bunch of us that voted for it. Like I said, imagine a tagging crew that's about to make a choice to become a gang. Now, these tagging crews didn't necessarily go and become Crips or Bloods or skinheads. We joined the local street gang, which was in Sun Valley, and you got like 9 white boys. We got an Armenian, a Persian, we got 2 Asians, a black kid, and a couple Mexicans. So it's like we were not the most racially structured gang to join to become like a Southside gang. So we gravitated towards a gang that I was really friendly with and kind of grew up around in Sun Valley that wasn't necessarily too political yet. So it was an easier transition than a lot of tagging crews made.
Okay. So you guys were all good friends with the dudes from Diablos?
I was.
You were?
Me and a couple other people were. A lot of the other guys didn't.
How did you guys make the decision of which?
Well, I was friends with them, and I just called them one day and said, look, we have to do this, like it or not. So we're going to bring ourselves to you, and you make the decision, basically. And we were friends. So a lot of these gang members back in the 90s, they were all taggers too. They were all either still currently tagging while being a gang member, because that was very prominent back then and is today. And then there's a lot of them that were taggers that lived in these gang hoods. So it was easy for us to get accepted and push in. And back then the gangs needed numbers also. A lot of these gangs, like this one particularly, they weren't the most numbered. They were a strong quality gang in Sun Valley, but the numbers greatly helped them as well. So, I mean, 30 extra kids always boosts the morale of a gang.
There's 30 of you guys?
About 30 of us, yeah.
How did the put-ons go? Did you guys all get put on the same day?
When I got put on, it was me, homeboy Spanky and Silent. They did 3 of us together at once. Like 9 of them, and I think it was like maybe 6 or 7 actually, and then 3 of us. We just went at it in the park.
Okay.
It was actually kind of fun.
Yeah. 3 on.
Well, I'd rather get jumped by a few people than by one. You tend to get more solid hits when you're fighting one-on-one than you would when 3 people are jumping you. They're all struggling to get a hit in, so you tend to just learn how to ball up and get out the way.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what was the culture shock like going from being a tagger to now, you're a full-fledged gang member and things are different?
When it comes to culture shock, you have to deal with the fact that, number one, like I've always said, I'm a white boy. Now, this is a Mexican gang. They might have not, they weren't that far on the spectrum of politics yet, but however, you're still joining, this is a different culture you're officially stepping up into a part of. And the politics was a big thing to change. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're not just tagging on the walls now, you're gangbanging. And then we eventually had to realize we also joined a gang that had a green light. We were in some trouble. And we didn't know a lot. We didn't really know these details. We didn't really pay much attention on the recruitment poster when we signed up. So, you know what I mean? We didn't read the fine print. So we're now enmeshed in this gang that's actively with a green light in the south end of the San Fernando Valley, southeast end of the valley, where traveling anywhere else on our normal route, we are traveling through enemies everywhere. So it became a little rougher to navigate getting around the valley, going places. We couldn't go to the malls. We usually go to, our girlfriends were all now in trouble because they lived in rival neighborhoods, and the whole thing became different. It's a huge culture shock. It's not just tagging on walls anymore.
Now, I seen at one point you decided to join the military?
Yeah, I went from being a gang member to like a really good, successful drug dealer. I was one of those homeboys that smartened up real quick. I didn't really dabble in drugs when I was young. I really did not. I paid more attention to graffiti and the gang stuff, and I was selling drugs, working at Walmart. So I had a really good cover. I had a good job, worked at Walmart, and I started getting in some more trouble on the side with my homeboys, and I kind of got myself in some trouble where I could face prison time. So I decided I'm joining the Navy. I always wanted to be in the military anyway, so this was a good chance to say, hey, I'm going to go in the Navy. And the Navy also is one of the branches that takes felons. I tried the Marines, they shot me down. One of my friends got killed on the way into the Army with me, so I settled for the Navy.
Can you take me through that story?
Which one, my friend getting killed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about it on one show.
This happened the day before, right before, right?
No, this was like a month or two before I finally was able to join the Navy.
Oh.
We joined the Army together, me and my friend Ryan, and we were doing Caltrans, and it's really f***ed up, it's sad. We were traveling, doing drugs in the valley, and then got into a shootout, and he got killed. He didn't listen to me, didn't hide in the car like he was supposed to. He was very inexperienced.
Then you guys were hanging out, right?
We were hanging out, doing drugs. We were smoking crack all night long. I was trying not to say that because it's embarrassing, but we were smoking crack in the valley. We were supposed to ship out the next day. I brought my homeboy Ryan with me down to the valley to see his own neighborhood. He was from a bigger gang called Violent Boys, which is one of the biggest stompin'est hoods in the valley. And little did I know, he had never even really been to his hood. So I'm taking this kid down to his hood. He doesn't know his own homeboys, and I'm walking around, his homeboys know me, and we're shaking hands, because we got along with that gang really good back then. And I'm walking in his neighborhood, I'm shaking hands, his homeboys are walking up to me, not knowing who this is, and it was scary. As the night progressed, you realize, this kid, he's never even been to his own hood, bro. He's from a gang, he has no clue of how serious it is. They also had a green light with us. So we were all fighting through a lot of shit together in that corner of Sun Valley, and this kid had no idea. None of them really recognized him. It was actually sad to watch, like, this kid get no handshakes. I have to introduce him. And we left. He made it through it. We left, kept smoking crack. We got into a shootout with some enemies, and he didn't listen to me. He had like no field experience. Like, he didn't know how to shoot, hide, travel. Like, the kid had not been schooled. And we're getting chased by some people, and I told him, make sure your seatbelt's on, lay down in the back seat. They opened fire on us. They started shooting at us. The first thing he does with the first shot, after hearing the first one, he looks out the back window, puts his head up, the second bullet, his head popped. He got hit with a 45 hollow point. There was nothing left. Me and my girlfriend are covered in brain matter, teeth, all kinds of shit. And the shootout progressed. My car got turned into Swiss cheese, rolled. He flew, his body went out the windshield through the front of the car, and his family still blames me. I've never been able to make amends for that. His mother blames me. So I found a way to get out of that. They tried to assume that I was one of the shooters, but I wasn't. I ended up going in the Navy after that. And the Navy accepted me. I got shipped out, stationed in Africa. I was a fireman. I had a damn good job. My plan at that moment when I was out there was like this: I'm not going back. Drug dealing, all that shit. This is a damn good job. I'm on an aircraft carrier in Africa. I was stationed right outside of Egypt, and a lot of people don't know that's like North Africa. And it was so amazing. And I started coming down with these migraine headaches all the time. And they got tired of sending me out to the sick bay, and eventually I got a medical honorable discharge, because migraines are a disqualification. Especially when you're out at sea, they need to rely on you. So.
Do you know what was causing them, or was it?
I've always had them, but they were not coming as frequently as they were in the Navy. It could have been, I assume it's probably all the stress of my friend being killed, and now me being in the Navy, me worried about his mom. His mom hated me. She wanted to kill me too. She blamed me for her son's death.
Damn.
Yeah. I took the full brunt of that kid being killed, and I still blame myself for taking him out that night to party. But I didn't know. If I would have known, I would have never even picked him up, you know?
Yeah, you died. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You guys were partying. It's.
No, but I didn't know the level of his inexperience, if that makes any sense. I assume like me and you are from the hood. We're going to go to your hood, my hood. We know our homeboys. We know our area. We know how to act. He didn't know any of that, and it breaks my heart,
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get honorably discharged from the Navy.
I got a medical honorable with full pension.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get out, what is your plan? Are you thinking, I'm going to go straight, I'm not going back to the streets?
Opposite.
Or are you opposite? So you're like, this
I was
shit didn't
angry.
work
My
out?
friend was dead. I still blame myself for that. I'm losing the job of a lifetime. To me, it didn't seem rational that they want to kick me out. I was pissed because I'm getting washed up in a career that people, who the is to be a fireman on a boat in the middle of Africa? It's a dream job. Good pay. You're not even spending your money. Your money's just stacking in the bank because you're out at sea 6 to 9 months. Nothing better. You know what I mean? hot chicks around the world when we're shipping into port, hot Navy chicks on a boat with you. Like, nothing's better than this. And I get home and I get washed up, medical honorable discharge. I'm still a veteran with a pension, but that's just not good enough. I come home angry, went right back to my hood, start selling drugs, right back into it. And that's when I fell into peer pressure. I finally let one of my homeboys talk me into trying drugs, like really seriously, and it just was bad from that moment on.
Man, and you waited all this, you were older though. How old were you when you?
I was like 21, 22.
21, man. All that time, you never were curious about drugs
or
anything?
like I said, I dabbled. I partied with Ryan. We dabbled here and there, but like really, really doing it, like really, really, was when I came home and it was bad. And it was crack. Like I'm talking crack from like New Jack City crack, where you're like in a corner shaking and shivering, paranoid of your own shadow, because that's how quick crack gets you. Starts off with trying cocaine or like little breaking up the crack. Like me and Ryan, we did these things called primos. Not really smoking crack, it was primos. You're breaking up the crack, mixing it with some weed. So it's like you're watering it down. But when I went to crack, all bets are off, dog. It's a wrap. Your life is now altered.
Damn. Now, does it do that to everybody, or was it just for
everybody
you?
Everybody I knew, once you do crack, crack does you. I always tell that story. Crack drives the car. I'll give you 4 to 5 days of some fun. 4 or 5 days you can enjoy it randomly, go to a hotel, chick. But after about a solid week of doing, you're hooked. And when it starts crawling on your back, I'll steal from you. I'll steal from my mom, dog. Nobody's safe. I'll steal from an old lady. Any way to get is what I had to do. That's how bad it got. I lost everything, both my cars, Dayton's, Cadillac, guns. My gangbanging career suffered. I went from being that decent white boy, homeboy in the hood you could trust and made money for the hood to this dude's disgusting. I don't even want him around. We can't trust him. Your whole life changes. And I spent a couple years acting like that.
How hard is it to get off? Like, do you gotta like?
I tried a few times, bro, and I couldn't beat it. The only way I got off, and this is horrible, my friend convinced me to inject methamphetamine. Remember when crystal meth was real, when it was really hitting the streets? I want to say late 90s, early millennium.
Yep.
I had the bright idea of letting my friend show me how to inject crystal meth. Now that drug gives you about a year or two of fun. You can have crazy sex with girls, two girls at a time. I can watch porn for hours and jack off. I can put a car together. I can paint the house. I can redo the floors at 3 a.m. I can do all kinds of crazy activities and projects when you're on meth. It gives you a couple years of like really enjoying yourself. And then that catches up to you too. And then now realizing I'm a junkie using a needle, slamming meth, and having to mix it in with heroin every couple weeks because I've been awake for a month and I'm starting to go psycho from like sleep. When you've been awake and you're fatigued from sleep deprivation, you've been awake doing meth, doing crazy shit for a couple weeks. I would eventually have to try some heroin to bring my ass down.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, eventually you end up going to jail or prison.
Yeah.
I think at 18.
I went to county
to
jail
jail
once at 18. Yeah, I went there once, but I hadn't gone to really prison yet.
How does that go for you at 18?
County jail is a really scary experience. If you've ever been to county jail, it's an experience, and a lot of people I don't think give it the real credit it's due. A lot of people think it's fun and they're having a good time, but for me, when I was 18 and I hit the county, it was a scary experience. I'm a white boy from a gang. I don't really understand the politics. I don't really understand much of what's going on. And when you're ushered up that escalator to that top floor by the John Wayne mural in a 9500 back then, 9500 was a big holding tank for like probably over 1,000 or more inmates. And it was a really scary place to watch people getting beat up, people's shit getting stole. There's like maybe 9 white boys. And I'll never forget, the only question someone asked me was, "Hey, what race are you?" And I'm a white boy. Okay, you're over here with us. There's like 9 of us in a couple bunk beds. There's 1,000 Mexicans, 60, few hundred blacks maybe. And then you realize all the different gangs. You don't really, like I was from a gang in the San Fernando Valley. To me, the Valley was my world. And the Valley's a huge place. But when you get to the county jail, you realize how big the rest of LA really is and how many other monstrous sized gangs there are per every block. And I'm in the county with dudes introducing themselves from, I've already met dudes, 200 different gangs. We don't even have 200 gangs in the Valley altogether. So I've already met, like I'm meeting dudes from gangs. You're just like, Jesus Christ. You start to get a sense of how big the greater LA County is when you hit that LA County. And it's scary. The stuff that goes on, the politics, the minding your P's and Q's, minding your business. You know what I mean? And at the same time, I can smell that cheap Dial soap in the shower, and I can hear phone calls of dudes crying, dudes asking their mom for money, dudes begging their mom for help with a lawyer, dude crying to his baby's mom who's probably going to leave him because he's going to do some prison time. Like, these are sounds and images that I'll never forget. They're stuck in my head, dude.
How did your homeboys take it when they found out you were with the white dudes? Because you're
well,
really
you got to remember,
go with the Southsiders.
Well, back then, my gang had a green light. We weren't technically on any spectrum of politics really yet. So, like, I just made the choice to stay with the whites. You know what I mean? I was asked the question of what race I was. Even if I'm going to be in my hood, I'm still a white boy. I'm never going to say I'm not a white boy. So I am a white boy. So that's just the route I took. And yeah, some people talk shit about it later, but I mean, I don't.
Now, how did the white dudes feel about you
didn't give a shit.
being from a Mexican gang?
But believe it or not, in jail, like, you're probably going to get more respect for making that decision than you would with your homeboys on the streets. Because in jail, it is about race and politics. Like I said, my gang weren't politicking. We had a green light. We were in trouble. So the fact that I had the balls to stand up and say, well, I'm a white boy. I might be from this gang. And don't get it twisted. I love my hood. I will always love my hood. I love them to death. But to me, there's a difference in my race and what gang I'm from. And that decision helped me out greatly in prison.
Okay, so this time you're only in jail for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So at this, so you get out, and then that's, I take it, when everything kind of goes left for you.
Yeah.
Okay, and then eventually you do catch a serious case.
Yeah.
Can you take me through that?
Yeah, I did 3 terms, total of 19 years. One was 3 years and 8 months. I forget what it was. It was like some robbery and some possession of dope, because back then you could get arrested for dope, and I think there was like a criminal threat and an assault. I did 3 years and 8 months, come home for 90 days. I think it was 90 days. Back in for 3 years and some change, some other shit with drugs. It started to be drugs. Now, mind you, I'm pretty hooked on meth and dabbling with heroin. I did another 3 years and 8 months, maybe a little bit more. Come home for 98. I never forget them telling, I was home 98 days when I got picked up again. And the last time was the big one. I think I got sentenced to 9. I did a total of 12 years and 6 months, almost 13. I did a home invasion, kidnap, 2 counts of criminal threats, and a felony vandalism. I went and destroyed a double wide trailer. Like this, I'm talking one of those kick the door in type situations. I was trying to sober up, and I told my friend, I had a homegirl that was like my road dog when I was selling dope. You know, we all got people like that. Back in the day, I had my little crime partner. She would help me through everything, and I told her, I just had I knew something was coming. I had that feeling. Something's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, I can't keep fighting this and selling dope and doing dope. I'm on parole. I'm surprised I haven't caught a violation. So I dropped this girl off with a bunch of dope. I gave her like an ounce of dope and all my money. And I said, just stay over here at your friend's house. I'm gonna sleep it off. I'm gonna get sober, and I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do with my life after this. And I told her, the only thing I'm gonna ask you, I gave her all my money, bro, a few $100, all my dope. I gave her a lot of dope. I said, don't call me. I've been awake for like a month. Let me sleep this off. Let me figure out some shit. So she called me about 6 hours later. And she doesn't just call, she's calling and calling and calling. I finally answered, like, what the f? I asked you, leave me alone. Brandy took the dope. They did all the dope. The money's gone. And I'm like, oh. And they just harassed me to where I lost my shit. Got in my Cadillac, drove down to this double wide trailer and just destroyed the trailer. Grabbed my friend. I didn't know there was cameras. The other neighbors had cameras. It's a bad trailer, audio and video. I grabbed my friend by the hair and pushed her down the stairs. That right there is kidnapping. Didn't know that in California. Just touching someone and moving them against their free will, a couple feet, is kidnapping. I'm on audio. I went in, took this 8-pound sledgehammer, destroyed everything ceramic in this double wide trailer. Sinks, toilets, the refrigerator, the toilet bowls, the mirrors. I destroyed this place, terrified these people. But I justified it because they took the dope from my friend. They took all the money I gave her. And exiting with my friend, I pushed her into the car. The neighbor's filming me. He says, I called the cops. They're already on their way. And I looked at him, and I'll never forget. This is where I sealed the fate in my case. I said, if you recorded me, I'll kill you. And he goes, okay, cool. Well, you're being recorded right now. And I have audio. He laughed at me and taunted me. I'm like, start to hear the sirens in the back, in the distance, jump in the car, went on a high-speed chase up, going towards like Palmdale, Lancaster area. And halfway, I stop, and I'm like, I'm not going to beat this. You've seen every high-speed chase on the news like I have. They never win. These guys never win. We just go until our car breaks down, and then they get us with the dogs. So I said, get out of the car. I pushed her out the car, gave her anything I had. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to lead them back into the city away from you. And then I'm just going to pull over because I'm not trying to get bit by no dogs in this process. And she goes, no, you can get in a tunnel. I'm like, nobody ever beats a high-speed chase. Unless you have like a hidden car and like you go into a tunnel, nobody beats these things. So,
the copter and everything was there?
Copter was up. There's no beating a copter, bro. Like this isn't a Hollywood movie. It's very rare. I have seen it done like maybe 5 times in my whole life, but there's like a series of things. You have to have a tunnel in a parking lot, but at the same time, they already knew who I was. My name went out because my car is registered to me. So that guy was filming my car. My name went out on an APB. There's no way of hiding. Where am I gonna go? So I turned around, I let them get me. They booked me for all those charges. That girl was so cool, Johanna, she had my back, went to court. He didn't kidnap me, he pushed me, I came with him willingly. So they start to investigate my case. They dropped the kidnapping, they dropped the home invasion because she said I was there to rescue her and protect her. So they booked me on the 2 counts of criminal threats because I had a prior criminal threat. And I had the felony vandalism for what happened in the trailer, but no home invasion, no kidnapping, no assault with a deadly weapon, grave bodily injury. They dropped all those. They booked me for 9 and I went in and got involved in every white boy thing you can think of in the jail system. And I turned it into almost 13 years.
Now, I think you mentioned when you went there, you didn't have any plans to get out.
No, I went there blaming you. I blamed society. I blamed everybody for everything that's happened to me. Poor me, bullshit. So I went there saying, this, I'm going to be that guy and I'm going to get involved and get the tattoos that go along with the life. And I'm going to just stay here because I was miserable. I wasn't happy. I couldn't stay sober to save my life. And I had realized I have a drug problem. That's a big part of this. And I just went there and did everything. I raised my hand. I got involved in all the bullshit. No.
What do you think was like the wildest thing that you've seen or went through that you could talk about?
Well, the one story I told before on the Softwood Underbelly is still, I'll never forget it. I'm one of those guys that I won't glorify prison. I don't like to brag about it. I wasn't no shot caller. I'm just an average white boy that went to jail. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in jail that the public doesn't really understand, and they don't get it. And I'm not going to justify this, but I am going to say that these are things that happen because people don't think their choices through. We had this white kid came through. He wanted to run with the blacks. Okay, cool. Well, you have to. A lot of these kids don't.
He was a Crip? Was he a Crip?
He was a white Crip. They don't understand the seriousness of some of these events. It's not a video. You're not on YouTube. You're not sagging your pants at the mall. You're like this. These are serious actions when you go to jail. And it's not. I'm not racist, and I'm not going to let someone paint me for that. But I'm going to speak facts here. And like these kids are dumb because they don't realize that you're choosing to do something that doesn't fit you. These kids didn't grow up in Watts or South Central. This is a kid that took himself and got involved with these people, which is fine. But when you come to jail, things are not that black and white. The whites aren't going to tolerate that. That's one of the things that we just won't accept. We're going to move on it. And most of the strong, heavy, smart, politicking blacks, they don't want it either because it causes trouble for them as well. Now, mind you, if you really were about that life as a white boy and you pushed your weight and you proved to them, they might stand up for you. But it's very rare that happens. A lot of these kids that you see out here sagging their pants and wearing skinny jeans and all that shit that hang out with them, they're not really about that life. It's a show for them. And push comes to shove, when they're put in a corner where they might have to prove themselves, they're going to be proven wrong. Well, this kid was one of those. And we spoke to them and they made it very clear that they're not going to go to war with us and lose 9, 10 people in a riot. And we're not going to, and they didn't want to lose their hold on their position in the yard where, everybody on a yard also, when you do stuff like this, you don't realize blacks are making money. They got dope. They got gambling. We have the same things going on. A situation like this little kid who's racially confused causes some serious turmoil because now if they act on it and back him up, they're going to lose all their business they have on the yard. They're going to get rolled up. They're going to get sent to other prisons. But also their family members are going to suffer because now their family has to travel other places to see them and vice versa with us. But we were going to hold our ground and say either we're going to do something or you can do it. They gave it to us, let us do it. And this kid had the sad thing is that's how serious these politics are. The kid had no idea that the people he chose to run with just gave him up. That's how serious these things are. I tell people all the time, this isn't a Hollywood Netflix special. We don't have a lot of that weirdness that they force into your movies today. That this kid was just given up on a move where they said, we're not going to lose 9 solid blacks over this kid who can't understand what culture he's from. And again, people will say that that's racist, but it's not. It's called reality. Reality sets in when you're in places like this, because contrary to what a lot of people think out there in prison, you will be surprised. The biggest Nazi affiliated white boys are with blacks all the time. They do business. They're solid homeboys. I have some solid Crip homeboys to this day that I love, and we make relationships and we work. It's just, this is what they do and this is what we do. And the only place that we really understand it is in jail. Out here, they demonize it and call us racist and call them that. And it's like, you just don't get it, because a situation like this kid would have caused 100 people to get hurt, moved, prisons, locked down, money lost on the yard, on business that's going on. So they gave him to us, and we had a couple of kids from somewhere out in this area in Riverside. I remember they volunteered. They were new kids. They weren't going home, and they chose to take care of it. And that morning, that kid was released to the yard, and where the blacks usually were, they chose to be somewhere else this day. So when that kid went over to their normal spot, these two other kids were waiting, and they had weapons, and the weapons were so medieval brutal. They were wrapped to their hands with torn sheets, because when you're stabbing someone in prison, there's so much blood from these weapons that you'll probably drop the weapon. So they made sure to tie these weapons to their hands so they're not going to drop them. That's how convicted they were of getting this kid. And these two kids jumped on this white kid's back and stabbed him probably 1,000 times. And I'll never forget, you don't really understand the seriousness of a moment like that until you've seen something like that happen. Again, it's not a Hollywood movie. And to see something like that in real life, it's like two spider monkeys on the back of some hyena, and they're just opening up ventilation holes in this kid while this kid is trying to scream and move, but he has no chance. And this kid got stabbed so many times in the neck that his head fell, and now mind you, the rest of us are on the yard, we're just laying down because we know the alarm is gonna come. And they're stabbing this kid so many times that his head's hanging. And they're going for headshots, facial shots, deliberately, to prove to this kid that you ain't black, you're white. And it was scary for me. I'm sitting there like, God, this is like one of the, like, this is really happening. I've never seen some shit like this. I've been in the military, I've been in a gang, I've seen fights, shootings, but this is some serious shit. And they stabbed him for so long that finally his head fell, and one of the guys kicks his head, it kind of breaks loose. And they sit down. This is the worst part of it. These two kids stabbed this kid for so long that they sat down, untied the knives, dropped them, and said, come get us, we're done. And there's so much blood. You don't realize how much blood comes out of a human body. The blood is starting to coagulate and get thick and sticky. And they're sitting in it, they're slipping around in it. This kid's lifeless body's sitting there, and then you realize, wait, where's the alarm? Why has nobody hit the alarm? And I look up in our tower, every building released for yard and prison on a level 4 270 they have a gunner's tower that faces as you release, because they have to be monitoring us to make sure we don't have weapons. So we had a female cop in the tower. She had the gun. She was so shocked by seeing this herself. Like most normal people who don't witness stuff like this, she was frozen. She didn't shoot. She was trained, and she was supposed to have shot those inmates the minute she saw them jump on this kid. They're wearing steel-toe boots. The prison boots had steel toes. If an officer sees an inmate in the act of kicking another inmate near the head or chest, they're allowed to shoot them with a gun. They don't have to fire warning shots on these prison yards, on level 4s. She didn't shoot. And these kids stabbed for so long, we were like, well, so it finally come to them, where's the alarm? They're done, this dead kid's dead. They're sitting there covered in blood. And we look, and she hadn't hit the alarm, and she's frozen with the gun. Her eyes are like bugs, and she hadn't shot. She's frozen with the gun out halfway out the window. You can see, because her tower is like, it's metal bars and glass, so you can see in the tower as well. And she has a perfect line of sight. She's probably 40 feet from the guy. She could have killed him, because they're trained to shoot, those tower cops. She didn't shoot. And we're like, wow, she didn't even hit the alarm. Well, finally, we hear an alarm in the distance. So someone in another building must have seen it. They hit the alarm. The squad, the protective gang unit, the IGI comes running on the yard. And cops are storming the yard. And we're all sitting there like, and we hear the cops are like, how? And the cops, you know, we have relationships with some of these COs, so we're friendly enough. And they look over at one of my buddies like, hey, how long did this go on? And my buddy's like, I ain't saying shit, dog. You've had us out here for a while already. Now, a lot of people also don't know that that's now an active crime scene. It's not like Netflix. You're not just getting picked up and going to your cell. We're on the yard. We're staying there. That's a crime scene. They're collecting evidence. The two aggressors are handcuffed, put in a cage, and wheeled off the yard. They do put a sheet over the body, but we have to wait to be moved until they can, like, you know, they do the chalk. They have to do all kinds of shit. They bring in the local police. It's a big old thing. They had to bring us lunches, eat out in the yard in the sun. It was a long day. And I still see that sometimes at night. It's one of the worst things ever. And I tell people that think prison is cool and like it's so awesome. Yeah, and then they lie about being shot callers and I was this, I ran the yard. And first of all, nobody that ran a yard is gonna tell you they ran a yard. I get stop with the bullshit. A lot of the shit that these people brag and think is cool, it really isn't, dog. And all this kid went through all that because he chose the wrong racial affiliation. And it's serious. It's real serious.
Damn. So was that your first time seeing something like that in prison?
That was my first time seeing something like that. I've never seen nothing worse than that. I've seen a bunch of shit go down, but that was probably the worst thing I've seen. And I was there. I knew the guys who did it. I'm allowed. They bragged about it. They gave everyone permission. Please. They were the two kind of kids that were there. They weren't going home. They did some crazy shit. They wanted to be known. They told everybody, tell this story. They want everybody to hear about it. They were proud of it. They volunteered for it. So I'm not giving up nothing that I ain't supposed to.
I hear you. Man, that's some serious stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's wild, man. How long were you guys on lockdown after that?
Oh, probably like about 9 months. Easy. Oh.
I seen you been shot and stabbed.
I've been stabbed. I've been shot at. Never been shot.
Oh, okay.
I've been stabbed.
Okay.
Oh.
How did that happen?
Fist fight. Couple fist fights. I got hit in prison one time. Got a little mark in a riot in the back of my ear, but nothing too major. It's a weird feeling.
You talked about your tats. So you started when you were young, and
yeah.
When did you start, progressing with the tattoos? Was it?
I immediately started snapping little pieces, and the longer I kept going, me and my friends would go back to this tattoo shop for the next year and a half, maybe every couple months. Because back then in the early 90s, you got to remember things were different with tattoos. You usually picked them by the piece. So you're looking at $40, $50 a little piece, and you can snap it all together later. Nowadays, they're like $1,000 days for a sleeve, and it's expensive.
Okay, and now what was your first face tat?
I had one in prison that I removed. I had a bunch of them that don't work in society, if you know what I'm saying. I've had all those ones removed. And it was a horribly hell process.
Okay. You don't remember which one you got first?
Yeah, I had to.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a couple removed. I had a few of them removed.
Okay,
yeah.
ones that you already had. Okay,
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, talk to me about the ones that you do have.
I've got I got my company on my face. I've got some I've got my favorite country song. It's funny because I forget. I got bats coming out of my ear because it's one of the funny ones I did in prison because I love Batman. Batman's one of my favorite superheroes. Okay. So we got bats coming out of my ear. I got my nickname Mohawk on my head. I started going bald when I was in prison, so I actually tattooed my nickname Mohawk on my head like a mohawk. And I got a bunch of leopard print coming down my head. It goes down my back.
Okay. And what are these ones?
I have a cross. I have a cross that was a cover-up. I have a saying around my jaw. I got a rose. This is one of my favorite ones too. I got a rose. I had a big 666 when I was in prison. Oh. And my whole throat. And one of the first things I did when I got home was when I did the change, I got sober. I did some therapy, a lot of PTSD therapy from prison. My friend hooked me up with a guy who helped me cover it with a rose. And it was the weirdest feeling because when he was working on it, it was a couple sessions. And on the last session, my friend Chris sets down the gun and I could feel like some of that evil just leaving me. Like I felt that bad energy, like immediately just leave. And I was able to let that go. Just like a lot of the ones I had removed from prison, they carry with them a lot of negativity. It's stuff that we did in prison it's necessary maybe in there, but it doesn't transfer to the streets. And I'm really proud that I have a bunch of friends that have helped me get rid of it. I've lasered it down enough on my chest and on my face where I was able to cover back over it. So.
How was the lasering off process?
Bro, I don't recommend it at all. I'm doing it again right now. I got these two little ones I'm doing once a month. That shit hurts so bad. I had my lasered, so.
Oh.
Yeah, it is not. It's an experience, bro. It's a experience. 20 times worse than any tattoo you can ever get on any part of your body.
No shit.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Oh, I think you talked about a riot one time. There was a prison riot, and there was some female guards there.
Wow, you do pay attention. Yeah, there was one time. There was a riot. It was a race riot, and we had a couple floor cops that were really cool. When you do time with a lot of these guards. and I don't ever advocate. I don't advocate any of the weird stuff. But you, like it or not, you chop it up with people. You talk. You casually talk. You make friends. You build. I don't want to say friendship with the guard, because as far as you could go in a relationship towards an acquaintance or a friendship, I mean, you talk to these guards. You're with them all the time. You live with them. They most of these guards live there too, and most of them are small town people. That this is the job for the town they live in, because these prisons are in these small towns. And these people, they're there. Some of them are there overtime, 12, 14 hours a day with you. They live with you. You talk to them. We happen to have a couple female guards, Mexican chicks. I think one was like Armenian, half Armenian, Mexican. And they were just the type of chicks that are just, they're cool. I mean, yeah, one of them was good looking, but like a lot of us, we don't really look at it like that. You're a guard, you're a cop, and I know how to be polite and respectful. And these two chicks were our floor cops, and they were there with us all the time. And they were cool. They're the kind of cops you kind of wish you could have had a lot more of, where like if you ask them a question, they answer it. They'll go out of your way to help you fill a request. They'll get you the forms you want. They'll bring your mail on time. They'll let you use the phone if you really had an emergency. I remember the one lady, I could be like, hey man, I really want to talk to my girlfriend or my mom. Could you let me out of my cell to make a phone call? And she would always be like, yeah, give me some time. When I can do it, I'll do it. And she would keep her word. Now these things are important to inmates. From another inmate or from an officer or from a guard, for you to keep your word. Just a small gesture like that really helps out an inmate. You could change our month by just giving us that phone call. Help me make sure my family's coming up for a visit, or give my family something, or in all honesty, not to be but maybe help me make a phone call for something that we have to do. Some business has to be done, or someone, I need to send some money somewhere, or get something brought into prison. Those phone calls and these things they do for us really change the dynamic and help us in prison. And these were two of the cops that, they didn't break the law. But if they could help us make our time easier, by proxy, it makes their time easier too. And they were smart enough to see this. They weren't there with us like a lot of the cops in the county jails were. And these ladies were cool. They were respectful. They weren't rude. They gave us what we got, maybe a little bit more, never too much, but they never us either. And when this riot happened, a particular group was able to get control of the booth, up in the booth, and they got control of the buttons. It was a long riot. And I don't want to say too many details, but let's just say that these females were put in a cell in the process of this riot, and we thought it was for safekeeping, and we noticed that a certain individual and his friend were blocking the door, and they went in this cell, tried to take advantage of a moment, and they were going to take advantage of these women. And I don't give a if you're black, white, or Mexican, you're not, rape is not on the table. You're not raping, I won't let you rape a cop. If I can stop it. You're not, that's a female, that's somebody's mom, that's a sister. You know what I mean? So me and one of my partners intervened, and I made the choice to get in this cell, and I made sure this woman, both of them were safe. And one of them was in the act of something was going on, and I shut it down. And I got pretty heavily hands-on and protected this lady. And the thanks I got came like not how you'd expect it, but like the woman was terrified. She was crying. You might be tough because you're a cop or a guard, but when a woman's violated like that, it changes their whole outlook on everything. And she was crying, and I think she was more worried about looking weak in front of the inmate's eyes, like me. But when I helped her and I shut that cell door and I let him know, listen, I'm going to close this door. We're going to go back to doing what we're doing. And then when she got out, the cops interviewed her, and obviously they came and got all of us. We were all sent to the ADSEG. We were all locked down for a long time. But a few of us were let back to our cells, and I was one of the ones that was let back to my cell with minimal damage. My property was still there. And I was grateful just for that. But this woman, they're not allowed to go back to the same place. They can't. She was supposed to have been transferred to another prison, but she was able to stay in that facility long enough. Her friend didn't say anything to me because she was too shocked. But the one that I physically helped, she was able to let me know that basically, like, man, I could cry. She was very grateful. I stopped her from being raped because she was like that close to being raped. I'm talking, the suit was ripped, the dude's pants were down. It was like that moment, and I helped her. And she thanked me, and she let me know that, like, she can't ever repay something like that. She can't set me free. She can't change my time. But she was grateful enough to let me know that, like, anything I need, all I have to do is ask for it. I mean, within reason. I'm not asking him to smuggle dope. I'm not asking him to leave a cell door open. But she basically let me know, like, dude, if you need anything, like, you know what I mean? Like, I got you. And she obviously let her partners know because I was treated a little bit differently. I wasn't no kiss ass inmate, but at the same time, you were treated differently by inmates that knew this risked his freedom and he risked his reputation to save one of our guards. Not only was it a guard, but it was a female. And it was a different type of treatment with respect that I liked. So it was cool.
Damn. Okay. I mean, that's a pretty bad riot when the inmates get a hold of the tower.
It happens probably more than you think.
Yeah?
In the big riots, yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you imagine it, one building has a few hundred inmates.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you imagine if we were to actually choose to do something together, a prison staff is maybe, I don't know how many cops they have on board on staff, maybe 150 on the prison yard, on the prison, maybe 200. You figure we have that per building maybe. I don't know if my numbers are correct, but close enough to that where like, if we really wanted to, bro, we could take that prison. Now, mind you, the National Guard would be called in, the local law enforcement, we would eventually lose. But if at any moment we chose to, we could take the prison. We could take that prison. We just don't. It's a dangerous situation.
Damn, okay. After this happens, you went to the hole for a while?
Yeah, I went to the hole for a while, yeah. Most people got transferred out of in riots, they usually split people up, separate cellies, move groups, transfer you to different prisons. I got lucky enough to come back.
Oh. Well, okay, you're supposed to be transferred, so maybe because...
Well, because when you're in a riot, they want to separate you. They try to break everybody up, break up the groups, whatever ethnic group, your racial groups, your gang groups. They try to break up the party a little bit and send you to different places. We all just regroup in other prisons because we all know each other, but I got lucky enough to stay. So it was close enough to where I was almost going home too.
Do you ever get called for music videos?
I've done a few, yeah. I originally got into this thinking I was gonna get into Hollywood more. I've gotten a few jobs and I've got a reality show about tattoos coming out within the next year. Hopefully, I'm gonna be the host of, but Hollywood didn't knock down my door like I thought. That's what I was going for. You finally realize Hollywood prefers the guys without the tattoos on their face really because they can draw whatever ones they want on there. And in all honesty, if I would have kept those white boy tattoos from prison, I probably would have got more background extras work because those are important for certain movies and scenes and stuff. But I'd rather not have those.
What videos were you in? Do you remember?
YG, Scared Money Don't Make Money. Scared Money Don't Make Money. I was in another YG one before that. I was in a Conejo video. I'm in one this weekend for the Hangover Gang and Tom McDonald.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom
McDonald, the white boy from Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love his shit, dude. Yeah.
Okay. I had to think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I know the name.
And the Moonshine Bandits. I've done 3 for the Moonshine Bandits.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope, man. Do you have any that you regret?
I think, yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of dumb ones I've done blast overs on and shit that was important when I was young that I look at that's dumb. I've gotten more into now doing the stuff I like. Like, my left side is like basically all Cholo traditional stuff, and my right side, for my culture, I got a bunch of Viking stuff. I got a bunch of dumb pirate stuff on my leg. You know, when you're in prison, we don't really have that much access to real cool stuff. We're limited to what's in the magazines or what our roommates or friends can draw. So I started getting a bunch of pirate stuff and like weird stuff that doesn't really mix with what my flow is, but it's all right.
Okay, are you planning to get more?
Well, I go once a month. We're working on backgrounds for this arm. My chest has been redone because I had something on my chest that I lasered. We started redoing over it, so that's almost gone too. We do like a couple sessions a month. And then we're actually right now, they're debating, my company and one of my friends from Cryptic Tattoo wants to laser. I'm in the process of deciding if I have the balls to laser off one whole side, and they might do a big ass praying hands with some really cool rosary beads coming down my jaw. I might do that. I might do it if I can handle the laser.
When you get something lasered off, I was told that it like,
it's like a blister, bro. It just burns.
Does it scar though?
It scars up for a couple weeks and then eventually fades away.
Really?
So you got to go for one tattoo, you're going to do 6 sessions, once every 2 to 3 weeks. And then after the last session, you got to wait a few months. It'll eventually just be gone.
Really? And no scars, no nothing?
Nope. But it burns, bro. It's a horrible burning process.
How long is each session?
So for these little ones I'm doing, that's probably like a half hour. And if you can imagine like a hot rubber band just snapping you, you're smelling your skin burn. It's a really rough process.
I can imagine, especially you got to get your face done, so you're talking...
And I've already done my face. I did my whole forehead, bro. I've already done the whole forehead, the chest,
okay.
back of the calves, the end of the arms. I've done a lot of big big stuff, but I had to.
So that's hours at a time.
Hours at a time. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Any pain?
Yeah.
Pain?
What do you mean, like pain pills to take?
Or just to stop, to kind of.
No, because
deal
I'm
with the pain
sober.
a
I can't
little
take any of the. I won't take the pain medication because I'm sober.
Oh.
We tried the numbing creams and the injections of Novocaine. It works just a little bit, not what you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about your company, Sullen.
So I work for Sullen Clothing. Sullen Clothing is the Gucci of tattoo clothing industry merchandise. We take artwork from the best artists around the world and we put their artwork on t-shirts. Socks, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, backpacks, baseball hats, towels. We do it all. Tattoo industry. We do conventions. I do modeling for the company. I do recruiting for the company. I do sales for the company, and I run a lot of the social media.
Now, are you a founder or?
No, I work for them. They're my friends. A great group of guys from Orange County. When I got out of jail and I got sober, the point was to get sober. I got sober. My mom started buying me bags of Sullen clothing every Friday as a way to she knew that I liked this stuff. And she would say every Friday she'd have a bag of stuff for me and say, listen, make it to next Friday for me. Just do it. And she would kind of dangle that carrot in front of me. So every Friday I'd have a bag of socks, a new hoodie to wear. And when you're just getting sober and you have not much after starting over, it's kind of cool to have some fresh gear that you like. So every Friday I'd have some socks and a t-shirt, a hoodie and a hat, maybe some shorts, something cool. Every Friday different in my size. And at 9 months, my mom said, okay, now do me a favor. Stay sober and bring me back that 12-month cake. Give me a year. And I did it, and I've been sober 7 years and a couple months now. And my mom bringing me this clothing is what helped me start and get sober.
Man, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. Yeah, okay. How did you get sober?
I had to hit rock bottom, dude. I was doing so much meth and heroin and ecstasy and shit that I was depressed. I had tried to kill myself twice. I tried to overdose. I took over my mom's house, this new nice mansion they bought in Santa Clarita. I took it over and just turned it into a trap house. I was so depressed and I just couldn't quit. And I got on my knees one night and I just prayed to Odin and Jesus. Whichever one of these big gods is up there, I don't know who's real anymore. One of you guys step in and help me stop this shit. Well, a couple weeks later, I couldn't do drugs. No matter how much. I did 17 shots on my last day. The last injection I did on my penis. Nothing was working. I couldn't get high. Wasn't going crazy like most people. I wasn't missing the vein and getting sick. I wasn't getting high. And I finally realized, dude, my prayers are being answered. God, Odin, one of you guys answered. And I've been sober ever since. I went to rehab. I got on a waiting list to go to detox. Got into detox. Went to rehab. Stayed sober. I sponsored people. I really pushed the sobriety angle hard.
Man, that's what's up, man. I mean,
Yeah.
That's glad that you finally, are here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing none of this. I wouldn't even have met you if I wasn't sober. So I had to do that, dude.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
That's good to hear, man.
Thank you.
You definitely got a dope story, man. Looks like you're staying busy. The clothing line, that's dope right there.
I'm super
man.
busy, bro. I never have time to relax. From conventions to traveling, I mean, I still do graffiti. I travel and do graffiti, so I get the best of everything right now.
That's what's up. Well, what's the future? What do you plan for the future?
Well, I got a convention coming up in Long Beach on the 18th and 19th. I got my own podcast coming out through Sullen on Sullen TV on YouTube called Brick by Brick. I'm going to talk to people like us, people that have been down, that built themselves back up. Every Tuesday night, I'm on the American Cholo called The Boys. I got a couple graffiti trips coming up.
What's the convention like? So what kind of convention is it?
Well, we set up a booth and sell merchandise. So, but most of the tattoo convention, this one's going to be in Long Beach. It's tattoo artists. Imagine a huge convention center full of booths where just people are tattooing for 3 solid days. There's awards, there's little burlesque shows, there's cool music being played, and all these tattoo artists, 1,000 tattoo artists in one hall, all competing for the best tattoos of the weekend. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I feel like I've been to a tattoo convention, but I think I only went there. I think I just walked through it for something. I don't remember what I was there for.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the full experience of it. But okay.
It's a thing. It's something you need a day to really enjoy.
There's and everybody's tattooing. So
everybody's
tattooing. So what do that's kind of if you want to get your tattoo, it's
a good place to get one because a lot of these artists who are really good, their work is cheaper at the conventions.
Okay.
Or they give you better prices because you're going to also help them hopefully get an award.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, I see. So
they're
every
competing.
tattoo that they do.
Well, no, they're competing. They're not doing just little small tattoos like I started with. They're doing full arms. They're trying to make you get tattooed for 3 solid days. Go home at night, come back, start again. Imagine being blasted on for like 9 hours a day. These people they're really working it. But the work you see, the stuff that these people produce is fantastic. It's amazing.
Okay, that's what's
Yeah.
up. Yeah, well, now that you you get most of your body done now,
I got everything
no
done,
more
bro.
fun. No more fun.
No, it's not fun anymore. The older you get, the worse it gets, bro. Tattoos suck at my age. They're so painful. I don't even care anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, that's what's up, man. Well, I appreciate you, man. You
Thank
sitting
you.
down, sharing your story, man.
Thank you.
Dope story, man. I'm glad you're doing better, man, and you're successful with
Thank you,
the
bro.
working and everything,
Thank
man.
you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate coming down.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming soon. So hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in to Cam Capone News.